News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
News Talk KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A drunk driver who killed two teenage girls is now on parole. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It is Wednesday, July the 2nd, 2014. It's going to be a scorcher today, and we're expecting a high of 94 degrees before we're done today. Right now it's clear and 55 degrees, a little bit of haze in the Missoula Valley right now. Our newscast sponsored by Dr. Troy Doxey and the friendly team at Chiropractic Works. And they're dedicated to chiropractic solutions. Call 728-0222. A man who drove drunk and killed two Missoula teenage girls and injured two others is now on parole. NBC Montana is reporting this morning that David Delsinore was sentenced back in October of 2010 to 30 years in prison. 15 years and 5 months were suspended. Delsinore was under the influence of alcohol when he swerved off the side of Highway 200 east of Missoula, where 4 girls were walking the day after Christmas in 2009. 15-year-old Taylor Curley and 14-year-old Ashley Patton were killed. Teal Packard and Haley Rumpel were injured that night. Last week, the Montana Board of Pardons and Parole granted Delsinore parole. He'll be required to attend a 6-month program geared toward people convicted of vehicular homicide while under the influence. He'll also be required to give speeches to area high schools about drunk driving and enroll in a pre-release program. A Missoula roofing company is facing a possible $14,000 violation penalty after a worker fell to his death on April 9th at a job in Florence. Area Director for the Billings Office of OSHA, Jeff Funk, says his office conducted an inspection of the worksite and discovered safety violations.
There was a fatality that occurred on April 9th. Now, we went out, we did an inspection there, and we found that the employer, Jared Langley Enterprises, failed to ensure that employees were protected from falls by wearing a personal fall arrest system.
Funk said the alleged citation is $14,000, but the company has an avenue to appeal that ruling.
The company has the ability to have what's called an informal conference with myself as the area director or someone in my place, but it has to be done within 15 working days of the time they receive the citations, and they received them approximately late last week, so they got about 3 weeks.
51-year-old George Fifield was allegedly working without a personal fall arrest system and fell about 9 feet off a roof, injuring his neck and head. Fifield was transported to a hospital where he died the following day. A Bozeman man who's been charged with trying to rape a former girlfriend in February and then escaping from police custody for 3 weeks now faces a drug charge. Gallatin County prosecutors charged 28-year-old Kevin Anthony Briggs with criminal possession of dangerous drugs yesterday. County Attorney Marty Lambert says a syringe found in Briggs' backpack had traces of a drug called Atizolam, which is an amnesiac, hypnotic, and sedative effects. Court records say the drug also was found in body fluid samples taken from the woman Briggs is charged with sexually assaulting. The woman told investigators she passed out after Briggs made her a smoothie. Briggs faces 5 other felony charges: attempted sexual intercourse without consent, aggravated assault, assault on a peace officer, escape, and failure to register as a sexual offender while he was on the run. And the fact that he was in Missoula led to the shutdown of almost the entire Missoula school system for a day. A recent investigation into violent and sexual offenders in Great Falls has revealed that a significant number of them had failed to properly register. Attorney General Tim Fox told our John King yesterday that a joint operation involving the Montana DOJ and Great Falls Police Department was able to find a majority of those who are non-compliant.
There are about 506 registered sexual and violent offenders in Cascade County. There were about 60 of those that were non-compliant for various reasons. We were able to find 40 of them and bring them into compliance. But through that process, I think the message goes out to the offenders that it pays to keep up with your registration.
This is the second compliance check on Great Falls' violent and sexual offenders. Fox says his office is coordinating with other police and sheriff's departments around the state for checks in other cities.
Subject to the availability of the local law enforcement and their resources in any given community, we will certainly work with them to schedule these. And we don't obviously broadcast when we're coming. All I can tell you is for the non-compliant offenders out there coming to your community soon.
Back in March, Yellowstone County was hit by a compliance check that found 95 offenders were improperly registered. Missoula County still hasn't had a compliance check yet. An unidentified woman was injured over the weekend when her vehicle's windshield was shattered by beer bottles that were thrown from another vehicle. Missoula County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer Paige Paballone said the incident occurred Sunday about 10 p.m.
As they were heading in towards Missoula, there was a vehicle that passed them in the opposing lane of traffic. That vehicle threw a six-pack of beer with 2 bottles of beer in it at the vehicle, and it hit her windshield and broke the windshield, and she subsequently got injured with glass in her eye and glass in her hands.
Paballone says the woman wasn't able to give a thorough description of the other vehicle.
Now, when the vehicle went past, they were able to discern that it was a white, boxy-looking car, but we have no other details. We didn't get a license plate, and we don't know if it was thrown out of the passenger side window or the driver's side window. Anyways, we're just trying to get any information we can from the public. If they've got any information, give the Sheriff's Office a call or call Crime Stoppers.
Crime Stoppers number 721-4444. Even though the 4th of July is a holiday to celebrate, Missoula Police Department wants to remind all recreationists to be safe and responsible when it comes to drinking and driving. Sergeant Greg Amundsen says extra patrols will be out over the long holiday weekend.
We have increased patrols for the 4th of July holiday, and these are being sponsored by the Montana Department of Transportation, STEP enforcement, and other grants, so we'll be able to put extra officers out above and beyond the officers that are normally working. And through this holiday, we're looking for both compliance with people wearing their seatbelts and some DUI extra patrols at night to make sure people aren't drinking and driving.
While their primary focus will be to get impaired drivers off the roads and prevent drivers who've been drinking from entering the interstate and the state highway system, Amundsen says patrol officers will also be enforcing all other traffic laws, including seat belts.
Well, I think the state of Montana typically sees a bit of an uptick as far as the number of crashes that we have statewide. Most of it, I think, has to do with holiday and vacation traveling. You know, we get much more of what they call vehicle miles traveled, which just means a lot of people are driving a lot more than they normally do. And with that increased travel on the highway, you will then kind of get a spike in crashes.
Most motor vehicle fatalities in Montana occur in the 6 months between May and October. More than 60% of those involve drugs or alcohol. About 4,000 members of a counterculture group known as the Rainbow Family have poured into the woods about 60 miles east of Salt Lake City. The annual festival culminates at a 4-day celebration which begins today. The group counts no leaders or official members. Last year it set up camp, if you remember, in a Montana national forest. About 10,000 people are expected to arrive by Friday, the height of the celebration. Our News Talk time now is 6:10.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Ample sunshine and very warm today with our highs topping out in the mid-90s. We'll be in the low 90s Thursday and Friday. There is a slight chance of a thunderstorm through the end of the week. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13, your first alert station.
Wow, it's going to be a beautiful day, but it will be hot, as Brooke just said. Right now it's 55 degrees in Missoula.